For this adventure, the little bug finally grasped a hold of the joys under the sea by learning how to swim under the water here in scenic La Jolla, California, where conditions were 3 to 4 with an onshore wind and a dropping tide. Made things out in the water pretty fun with a little bit of texture. I paddled out on the kids' catch surf Jamie O'Brien lock to ensure that it was going to hold up for the little bug who'd be surfing it later that day. Performing a safety check on a board for a child, you want to make sure to hit every aspect of the wave, smack the lip a little bit. It's a pretty serious job performing these checks for your child, and the most important thing to check is to make sure that they're going to have a ton of fun before you return the board back to them, fully stoked on a little 8-foot soft top. Before heading out into the water with the little bug, we decided to babysit this baby crab for a minute. Then we headed off into the water where the little bug was trying to get a sunburn on her tongue. As if that wasn't enough, here's her first time going under a wave. Coming out fully stoked. Without having a visible stringer line, the little bug is having a little trouble finding the center of the board to better keep herself balanced. That's one of my surf tips for beginners, is to try to stand with your feet perfectly in line with the stringer on the board. Unfortunately, this board doesn't have a visible stringer, so it takes her a couple attempts to figure things out. Which is another tip that I tell the beginner surfers, that most of the fun of surfing is catching the wave, so whether you stand up or not, you can still have a ton of fun just feeling the acceleration and enjoying yourself on these fun waves. With her goggles on, she looks like she's a geared up World War I fighter pilot, armed with some seaweed. And more often than not, doing something goofy like that can get you right to your feet. Every day it seems the little bug is learning something new in the ocean, keeping her fully hyped and keeping us on our toes to see what she does next. Keeping things goofy between rides. The little bug ducks waves with no problems and a plugged nose. Not being one to miss out on a fun time on a pink board, Tiffany took the catch surf out for a spin and had a bit of a blast. In an attempt to up the session hype, me and Little Bug hooked Tina into a party wave with Tiffany. They both wiped out at the same time. Tina is a pretty common sight ripping these waves here in La Jolla. Her also on a pink board. Inspired by the ripping skills of Tina, I decided to paddle out on my 9.3 Bronner, cruise my way across these fast faces as they made their way over the sandbars. I got back to shore to a little bug that was losing her mind. One of the joys of having a child who's just learning their way into the ocean is that it forces you to step back, take some time to go swim with them, learn how to deep dive under waves. Some of the most basic skills that every surfer should know, and jumping back to them, you remember some of the funnest things you can do on the planet. Getting back to the lineup, remember one of the funnest things you can do is charge a big board across the face of a wave. Straight into a closeout. Here's Nudie taking in the simple joys of going under a wave. Also hopping on and taking in the joys of taking off on a wave. Getting up to your feet. Getting goofy and switching stances. Here's me getting to my feet and taking in the joys of feeling a wave break slowly over your hand. Something that easily 99% of surfers that do it totally enjoy. It's almost an instinctual thing to do when you're riding across the wave. We don't know why we do it, but we like it a lot. Nudie was so fully hyped on the feeling of going switch that he just decided to stand up that way, pink leash forward. There's no way to explain the excitement of the feeling of this wave, so we'll just play it out in slow motion. Just know that this was my favorite ride of the day. Having an absolutely killer session. This is the most waves I've ever seen Nudie catch. And pulling into most of them switch, any surfer will tell you, it's pretty gnarly. And being a gnarly dude, he still has some gnarly takeoffs. After a full session of messing around on the 9.2 O'Neill, we decided to take out the catch surf since no one else was using it at the time. We continued to have a killer session that would totally blow out the shoulders on a lesser man. After spending most of the day down at the beach, we decided to walk down on into town. Made our way to the Shore Rider for some lunch and some quick interviews. You've got blue hair. You're going under waves for the first time. What are your thoughts on the day? What are your thoughts on going under waves?
Food.
Food?
Yes.
Well, we're getting food.
Food.
All right. So you're looking good in pink sharks. What are your thoughts on the day so far? Fantastic. You're fully psyching Jamie O'Brien style. What are your thoughts on the day so far? Fantastic. Some killer burgers go great with some killer surf, and every surf trip is an adventure.